An additional 6.6 million Americans have filed for unemployment, the latest indication of just how badly the pandemic has impacted the American economy. For more on this, let's bring in Sabeel Marcellus. She's a reporter for Yahoo Finance. Sabeel, can you remind our audience just how historically bad these unemployment numbers are?
Yes, this is definitely historic what we're seeing. And as you just mentioned there, Vlad, so we got two weekly unemployment claims numbers, and they were 6.6 million, bringing the total in 3 weeks to more than 60 million Americans losing their jobs. That is jaw-dropping, and that just speaks to the devastating financial loss we're seeing as the U.S. deals with the coronavirus pandemic. In terms of states that have seen the biggest job losses, California leads the way with 925,000 jobless claims filed last week. Other states severely impacted: New York, Michigan, Florida, Georgia, and Texas.
So we're also hearing reports that some of the states are struggling to actually process a lot of these claims. I've heard sort of horror stories of people sitting on the phone for an hour only to be disconnected, or websites crashing. It's not like the states didn't know that this was a possibility coming up. I know there wasn't a lot of ramp-up time, but why is this happening?
Well, the labor market has never seen anything like this. This is a massive meltdown on a national scale. And what we're seeing is that unemployment offices around the country are struggling to deal with the surge in demand for people trying to claim unemployment. Just think about the restaurant industry, how severely that's been impacted. Major parts of the U.S. economy have been shut down. So all those people are trying to file their unemployment claims. So you can expect that next week, the unemployment claims number will continue to be elevated because it will reflect all the people that couldn't file last week that are getting it processed this week. Also, the CARES Act expanded who can claim unemployment to include those who are self-employed and also independent contractors. So that's also contributing to these massive high numbers.
Sabeel, the stock market has rebounded in recent weeks. It is up this morning, or at least it was up this morning. Explain to our viewers what is going on there with the market, given how bad the unemployment numbers have been. We've seen the market gyrations over the past couple of weeks, huge swings up, huge swings down. What's going on?
Yeah, so the huge swings up, huge swings down speak to the market volatility. There's still so much unknown in terms of when the U.S. economy will finally reopen. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, which a lot of investors on Wall Street are paying close attention to, said that he believes the U.S. economy could possibly reopen in May, but it depends on what health officials tell President Trump. So we're in limbo here. Investors don't really know what's going on, and that's why we're seeing all this fluctuation in the stock market. In terms of today, we did see all three major indices in the green. That's because the Federal Reserve is stepping up efforts to support the U.S. economy and backstop the massive financial losses. So the Federal Reserve is going to be pumping in $2.3 trillion into the economy to help sustain businesses as we deal with the coronavirus pandemic and to hopefully help us rebound once the U.S. economy reopens.
Right. So the hope is that these numbers, even though they're massive, may be temporary, that they're just temporary layoffs because of the pandemic, or, these employees are furloughed and will go back to work. But some economists are warning that included in these numbers may be longer term, more permanent layoffs as companies sort of look to trim the fat. What is the concern as we look past the epidemic when the economy starts to get back up and running?
Right. So we're seeing more than 60 million Americans who lost their jobs in 3 weeks. So once the U.S. economy reopens, you're going to see so many Americans looking for jobs at the exact same time. Meanwhile, companies are going to be trying to deal with the financial devastation they've been dealing with because of the social distancing guidelines. So all that combined makes many economists believe that by the end of this month, more than 20 million Americans will have lost their jobs and that the unemployment rate will jump up to 15%. Now, it might take years for the labor market to recover from what we're seeing right now. It may take people years to get another job.
Sabeel, so I guess the final question is, where do we go from here? Is the unemployment number that we're seeing today and that we have seen in the last couple of weeks just simply a result of people staying at home and social distancing measures, or are these jobs gone and not coming back?
Well, the hope is, and I'm definitely hopeful, that these jobs are definitely coming back and that it's a result of the coronavirus pandemic and the fact that major parts of the U.S. economy had to be shut down in order to stop the spread of the virus. So if that's the case, and it's mostly furloughed workers that we're seeing reflected in that unemployment number, then hopefully the labor market will be able to bounce back. But if it's a situation where companies are trying to trim, they're trying to support their bottom line, they're dealing with the fact that they had struggled bringing in revenue during this time, especially in the restaurant industry, then yes, the labor market is going to continue to be impacted and the unemployment rate will continue to be elevated.
All right, Sabeel Marsalis, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.